You're telling me I've got to forget about what the Democrats are doing right now, present tense, because it might set a bad precedent for the future, even though the Democrats are already doing it right now. This reminds me of what we always hear from the squishy Republicans on big tech censorship. They say, we can't ever use the government to stop the left from censoring conservatives right now in the here and now, because if we do that, then they might use it to censor us in the future, even though they're already censoring us in the present. Well, then I don't care about that hypothetical. I care about what's happening right now. I'm not going to give the left an actual victory right now so that I can maybe win a hypothetical victory in the future after I've already lost right now. That doesn't make any sense. I'm worried about the present tense, not the precedents. Can I get an amen to that?
We ask it in the name of the monotheistic God, Brahma, and God known by many names, by many different faiths. Amen and a woman.
Amen and a woman. That is some silly Democratic representative. I don't even remember his name. This Democratic representative was giving this sort of prayerful invocation. And of course, he doesn't know the meaning of the word amen. Amen does not have anything to do with being male or female. It's a very ancient Hebrew word, and it has nothing to do with sex whatsoever. Okay, fair enough. So we're all laughing at this guy. We're all correcting him. I think that's the wrong strategy. I think that completely misunderstands what's happening. Conservatives are getting this all wrong in the same way that they get political correctness wrong more generally. It is not enough to laugh at these guys. While we're busy laughing and correcting these guys on these silly redefinitions and ridiculous etymologies, they're scoring victories. That's what happened. Remember Latinx? Remember how we all joked about that? Remember how we all joked about turning chairman into chairperson or chairwoman? That was I guess that was in the 90s. People joked about that. Then it happened. The Latinx thing is being totally mainstreamed. He or her, zer, being totally mainstreamed. The singular they, being totally mainstreamed. What happens is the left doesn't care about these etymologies. The left doesn't care. They're not going to feel embarrassed if you say, wait, actually, amen has nothing to do with men or women. You're going to say, yeah, whatever. Now it's political. Now you better say amen or a woman. I have a strong hunch that this phrase is actually going to be mainstreamed. Beyond that, listen to the new standard. He says, he invokes the monotheistic God, the name of the monotheistic God, Brahma. Brahma is not the monotheistic God. Brahma is the name of a pagan deity from South Asia that is a foreign deity in the United States. But there's the establishment of a new standard. And this new standard is secular liberalism, and the new standard is enforced by politically correct speech codes and politically correct behavior codes. And we giggle and we correct them, and they enforce the standard. There is a way around this, but it's going to be very difficult for conservatives. The way that the left is able to trample the culture and establish these new standards and get people to start saying a woman, which they're actually going to do. Remember, they changed rest in peace to rest in power. Rest in power doesn't make any sense, but the left all says it now. So, I mean, the left changed Christmas trees into holiday trees. What holiday are they talking about? The only holiday that has a tree is Christmas, but still people now talk about holiday trees. How? How do they do it? Because the left is willing to defend their new politically correct standards. They're willing to go out on a limb and say, you need to use the language that we want you to use. And the only way conservatives has responded is, hey, we're not going to tell you that you should say a certain thing or behave in a certain way. We would never impose on you. We would never force our views on you. You can't legislate, those sort of things. But we just please don't make us do it. Not how it works, folks. Not how speech codes work, not how language works, not how behavior works. Either the Christmas tree is going to be, you're going to call it a Christmas tree or you're going to call it a holiday tree. But you're going to call it something. It's going to have a name. And the left is trying to push this view. Either we're going to pray to God or we're going to pray to Brahma. You're not going to pray to both. You can't pray to both, actually. And so the way political correctness advances is they destroy the old standards. They say, you're not allowed to say chairman. You're not allowed to pray to God. You're not allowed to say amen. You're not allowed to call it a Christmas tree. You're not allowed, you're not allowed, you're not allowed, you're not allowed. That's offensive. That's wrong. And because they believe in their new standard, they're willing to enforce it. We don't really believe in it anymore. The way to actually fight back against this is to publicly say amen a lot and really believe it. The way to fight back against this is to actually have a robust, I suppose you'd say, traditional culture, which is heavily, heavily Christian culture, and actually believe in it, and actually be willing to make claims about it, and actually say, there is one God, his name is God, and that's the God that we worship in the United States. And we don't worship a bunch of other gods. Are you willing to make that claim? Are you willing to go out there and exert those standards? Are you willing to say, hey, not only is it not the case that men can become women, but it is disordered that men should behave like women, and we should discourage them from doing it. Are you willing to go that far? Are you willing to actually, and by the way, when I say that far, I mean the thing everyone would have agreed on 10 years ago. The idea that men are not women. Because the rut that conservatives and the right are stuck in is they'll say, hey, I don't want to make any claims. Look, if you're a man and you want to pretend to be a woman, that's totally fine. Just don't make me do it. Just don't. Well, in that case, you've established the principle that a man really can become a woman, or that it's totally normal or totally acceptable. You've established the principle that a Christmas tree, maybe it's not a Christmas tree. You've established the principle that maybe the God that our nation has historically worshipped, that we can find reference to him in the Declaration of Independence and in state constitutions and in the Connecticut Code and in the writings of all of our forefathers, maybe that God's actually Brahma, right? Maybe. It's not, though. And unless we are willing to make substantive moral claims, which frankly I think most conservatives are not, because I think we're cowardly and we think it's impolite or something, and we don't even really believe it much ourselves. Unless we're going to do that, you're going to get amen. You're not going to get just amen. You're going to get a woman. You're going to get political correctness. This is why political correctness advances. We laugh at it. We joke about it. And they get the wins. If you enjoyed that video, be sure to hit the subscribe button so everyone wading through the wasteland of YouTube knows that we have got the absolute top content out there.